Hi, welcome to another Meet the Scholar video. In this interview, I'm joined by Miklos. He's a talented cellist I've had the pleasure of playing some chamber music with in the past. Hi!
Hello.
So, firstly, tell us a bit about yourself. So, what you studying at Queen Mary? What year are you in?
I've also had the pleasure of playing with Alex, who is a talented violinist, by the way. And I study biochemistry at Queen Mary. I'm currently in my second year. Oh, yeah, Alex, you study biochemistry too.
Indeed.
Um, yeah, and I joined the Music Society last year, and I've really enjoyed my time with them so far. Of course, the pandemic has caused things to grind a little bit to a halt, but here we are. Um, I'm Hungarian, so I'm an international student, and I moved to London when my degree started, and I brought my cello with me.
Always important to have the instrument with you.
Yes, it is.
I guess you might have a different experience from us, kind of growing up in a different country. Like, when and how did your interest in music begin? And, like, how did you get opportunities to develop it in Hungary?
My interest in music, I mean, my whole family always listened to a lot of music. So we had a lot of cassette tapes. I remember one specifically, Hobo Blues Band, and just layers upon layers of CDs. And most of them weren't classical, to be honest. And I think most of my exposure when I was a really small kid was through my siblings, especially my younger sibling or younger older sister, um, who played the violin. And I started off actually playing the violin in Ireland for about a year, and I wasn't too great at it, and I didn't really like it. And then when we moved to Hungary, when I was about 8, I really wanted to play the trumpet. Uh, and then somehow that disappeared, and I don't know exactly how, but I ended up playing the cello. And I think most of my passion for it when I was a really small kid came because not because of the music itself, but because I really liked my teacher. Of course, I hated practicing, as every kid does,
Yep.
but I really liked my teacher, and I think she was the one who ultimately convinced me to stick to it, and I'm very happy for that.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with you on that. Like, teachers, for me personally as well, have been so important to just kind of spark that interest in, like, even music history or like analyzing music theory.
Yeah, yeah. It seems so pointless when you start a lot of things.
Right, yeah. You definitely had a very kind of musical family growing up. Would you be able to pick out any one of like your most memorable experiences with all that going on around you?
I was actually thinking about this quite a bit, and I came to the conclusion. So I was thinking competitions. Yeah, they were fun, and it was an experience to kind of work towards them and then present it at the end, and it was exhilarating. But I think the most memorable that kind of stuck in my mind like a dagger was when I was about 12. I had I wasn't very social, but my best friend was a Baptist guy, and I started going to church with him for some reason, even though I wasn't religious. And then at some point, I like started playing with them too, and they said, "Hey, we're going to the UK for 2 weeks to play in churches for free. Would you like to come?" And of course, I was like, "Sure." And I spent 2 weeks with complete strangers and a really nice pastor, just kind of playing church music. And I've really loved church music and gospel music ever since. So I think that was the most memorable one because it was like a whole journey. Um, and it really broke down my character. Really beat down afterwards, but it was fun looking back.
Kind of one that goes like off the track that most people have, like, oh, I played in orchestra. My personal ones were like playing in orchestras and like presenting like large pieces of music. So that's a pretty unique experience.
Yeah, I lied a lot as a child. Like I was a pathogenic liar, and I think that's part of the reason. I think a lot of people never realized that I wasn't religious. So uh,
I hope you won't lie about this one. But how valuable is music to your life now, especially with such a life-changing experience? And how do you plan on continuing it?
as I'm sure everybody has answered pretty much along the same lines, it's essential. Like it's the
Right.
only thing that doesn't involve looking at a screen, and the value of having this activity that I can do by myself. I enjoy it. I get something out of it. I even the fact that I actually have to move a little bit while playing which is the only exercise I get. Um, and it's also just kind of a it's almost like pure heroin therapy. So I really enjoy it, and I don't think I would be so sane, or I think I'd gone a lot more cuckoo during the pandemic if I didn't have my cello with me, most definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have pieces of music for specific moods. Like, I hate amino acids and I don't understand them.
Yeah,
Violin time.
yeah. No, I totally get you. Sometimes it's just like playing Nirvana,
Oh
or
yeah.
or some like unrelated. The point is that you're just like making something. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would live without it right now. Really.
Honest, yeah. Very relatable. Um, well, I'm sure as well as playing music, you definitely have a lot of music that you like listening to as well. Do you have three pieces that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Yes. I have three pieces, and I chose these three pieces because the first one is the Dvorak Cello Concerto by Jacqueline Dupre. And the Dvorak Cello Concerto is like the pinnacle of concertos for cello. And I've listened a lot to Jacqueline Dupre. Like I listened to her Elgar, but there's something about the way she just gets like punchy sounds that are also really smooth. So she can be way high up on the fingerboard. Uh, and when you do that, you need to go closer to the bridge with your bow. And you get a much stronger sound, but you also have a tendency to get a scratchier sound. And it's really hard to when you're playing a prolonged, loud note that is like the oh my god of the concerto, to actually leave yourself enough space at the end of the bow. And the way she just takes the bow, hits those high notes, and can get so much sound out of that first inch of the bow, just gobsmacks me. And then of course musically I also enjoy it, but I think for me that's just, I look at it and I'm like, how do you do that? I really don't get it. So I'm in awe. And the second piece is the second solo suite from Bach, and it's played by Perini Miklos. And Perini Miklos, who also is my namesake, Miklos, is also from Budapest, and he's kind of like the granddad of the musical community over there. And I once watched him play it in concert, and I don't know. I think I'm also Hungarian. I also play the cello, and I like the way he plays, and I just can relate to it so much. I don't really understand why. And also, there's a part of the second suite, which used to be the theme song of a chess computer game that I played as a child. So there's also that kind of nostalgia that I feel. And of course, I also enjoy really playing it. And then the third one is Le Mal du Pai from Liszt. And Le Mal du Pai means homesickness. And I really like listening to it nowadays because Liszt was also a Hungarian composer, and it just hits a string with me, just thinking that he was thinking the same thing as I was thinking when he listened to it. And I think he conveys it very well. And with this piece, I don't have any particular favorite to who plays it.
I think you're very much related to like your sense of self and identity, right? It's so weird as well as like being kind of like international student in this country. Sometimes you just want to be reminded of home like a little bit.
Yeah. I also listen to Hungarian radio, so sometimes, but it's like I don't know. For me, you know, as an international, which I'm sure you can relate, it's, when you're at home, you're thinking about getting out of here and going abroad. But when you're abroad, you're thinking about home. So it's a two-way thing, and it's unavoidable, sadly.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always thinking about Malaysian food for sure.
Yeah. Ooh,
Well, it's been really lovely talking to you,
it's been nice
and
to talk to you too.
that's what we have for this video.